Okay, welcome back to my stream. I'm sorry it's a day late. Something came up yesterday that couldn't be avoided. I won't go into details because it involves someone who I don't have permission to reveal details about. Let's just say I was not home for most of yesterday. Since this is Nomad Chapter 4, it's going to be short, just like the previous two streams were, which is fine by me because I still want to keep up with the streams, but it's been a bit of a week. This is not the one I wanted to load. You gotta wait for it to load and then load. Go. Okay. That's what I get for doing this when I'm super tired. Okay, this is the one we want. Now stream. And somewhere that isn't home. The gentle flicker of the lanterns that line seemingly endless rows of strictly black trees would be almost soothing, but would have their blood red hue. The sky is an unnatural shade of vivid green, an almost suffocating, oppressive feeling in the air, pressing down on me as I take a breath in an attempt to gather my wits. I look at my hands and pat myself down, checking I'm real, that I'm not a ghost. I could still be dead, I suppose. Nazreen Kadir. I spin to find the source of the deep, unsettling voice that speaks my name. And I find a cloaked, faceless figure. The lantern that they clutch in their clawed hands shudders as they glide closer, their robes dragging in the dust. I quickly reach for the dagger at my hip, only to find it gone. Now it's really time for the panic to set in. My weapon is an extension of myself, the thing that keeps me safe. Without it, I feel helpless. Who are you? Where am I? And also, what the fuck? Very Nomad. Here lies a place between realms. You must journey forth and choose a path. Their voice carries, echoing all around me, as if their words haven't truly fallen from their mouth. They even have a mouth. All I see is a dark void in the concave of their hood. A path where? I don't understand. Their lantern flickers impatiently as they twist and point towards the paths that wind behind them. They perfectly paved roads that disappear into a thickly cloud of fog, none of them particularly inviting. You will know which is yours to take. The feathers that line my shoulders quiver as I stand and stare them down, the thought of taking even one step forward making me sick to my stomach. Are they a ghost? A demon? I can handle either. I just need to... I am not a foe. I simply just am. Proceed onward, and you will understand your place here. I swallow away the dread that claws at my throat and try to steel myself. I'm better than this fear that wants to consume me. I'm here for a reason, and that reason I will seek. I take a shaky step forward, and the figure steps aside. And when I can't see their face, I feel like they might be smiling at me. This isn't exactly a comforting feeling. Nope. So, unlike with the ambassador or the knight, we actually get to pick a path. So, trying to remember, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the first one just to see what happens. I can't seem to focus, nor can I fathom which of these paths might be made for me, and so I veer to the left and walk onward with purpose, hoping that if I at least pretend I'm confident about my choice, I might make the right one. That is not your path to take. I turn to glare at them and find them pointing forward to the center path. Take a deep breath. You could have just said that instead of being dramatic about it. Nothing stops me as I take the forward path, and so I proceed into the fog and let it swallow me whole. Whoa, completely different location now. So the ambassador was a library. Oh my gosh, library. Sorry, I love books. The knight was the crumbles of the palace, and the nomad is the city around the palace. Interesting. Though the fog has lifted and the sky has cleared, everything still feels distinctly wrong. I find myself standing on a street that feels eerily familiar and yet foreign all the same. The cobblestone path and the faded brick tells me this is a road I've once walked, but there's still that feeling of something oppressive in the air, something threatening to suffocate me if I make one wrong move. It's like maybe if I look too hard, the gleaming facade will crack. It's almost too good to be true. Colorful wildflowers blossoming between the cobblestones, the sky a dreamy golden hue, the sound of birdsong in the air. Novus is nice, sure, but it isn't this nice. I can no longer feel the strange presence of the cloaked figure behind me. I know that someone, or something, is watching me. I step forward and press a palm to the stone exterior of one of the buildings, surprised to find it scalding hot. I pull away quickly and flex my burnt hand before another voice fills my head. Great, another voice. Ah, we have an observant one. I spin to seek up the source, something not quite real or here, but present in a way I can't comprehend. Who's there? I spin that I see them. An imposing figure with an animal skull perched atop their head, broad shoulders adorned with thick furs and rich silk. Their skin has the same quality as those ancient and crumbling statues in the palace gardens, but it seems to glisten as though it's been crafted from something far more precious than stone. Yeah, you should have seen the Discord for the Lunaris Games Patreon. Everyone was thirsting over this guy, and I'm just like, that's cartoonized. This person is certainly not human. I'm not entirely sure what they are, but something tells me that I should shut up and listen to whatever they have to say. You figured out that none of this is quite real quickly, didn't you, dearest Shadow? I nod numbly as I continue to try and fathom what or who stands before me. There's something about them that I recognize, something inside me screaming that I should know. Memories from my childhood and lessons I was sure were long forgotten from my days of training. It cannot be. Oh, but it can. Do you not believe in the gods, Snatching? Impossible things you've already seen, and I am that. A possibility, and I am right here in front of you. They reach out their hand as if they expect me to take it, but I appear to be frozen to the spot. I'm not sure if it's out of fear or disbelief, or maybe both go hand in hand when one stands before the very God you've heard stories of your whole life. Ungraff, the Undertaker, the one in wait. I see teeth as sharp as the daggers I favor stacked behind his gray lips. Well done. I knew it wouldn't take you long. Well, shit. Yep. He seems a lot nicer in person. Does this mean I'm dead? Are you going to escort me to the afterlife? See, I have things I need to do. He laughs and curls his fists against his chest, shaking his head. Such a nomad thing to do. Not dead. I'm simply here to talk. I can't help but have a disbelieving laughter that escapes me. To talk. To me. The stories all say that anyone who meets you cannot escape their grasp. Death is certain and is meant for all at some point in your life, but your time is not now, Natching. Your kind revere and respect me and call to me to help them carry out their swift justice in the dark. I am your friend. Now, you recognize this place, correct? I look around quickly, not letting my eyes fall from him for long, and I nod. I do, but it feels different, because it is nothing but a memory of what once was, a vision of what myself and my kin desire. Mortals fight and love, seek and destroy, they long for power and abundance, and do not care who or what they sip on to get what they desire. A never-ending cycle of destruction and decay, and though such things sustain me, I cannot stand aside and watch the land wither and unravel. There must be a balance, not just disorderly chaos. And so here I am, and here you are. What can I do? And what can I do? How do I assist? He tips his head slightly. I can feel his invisible eyes staring me down. His lips curl into an unreadable smile. You hail from the sun-drenched land, a place where my name still holds merit in the places shadowed like yourself dwell, and yet you've taken to Novus like you were born here. What do you see when you stand beneath the shadow of the palace? What do you feel when you walk the cobbled streets? Do you long for it to prosper, or do you long for it to fall? I think of the way the sun warms my skin, of the way the forest seems to breathe as I navigate its winding paths, of the heartbeat beneath the chapel in the palace grounds. The land is alive, but it's unhappy. I feel like it's trying to tell me something I can't possibly fathom. He smiles again, his stony fingers unfurling, and then I feel something shift. He grows angry, and with him so does the land, or whatever representation of the land lingers here, whatever he's created to make his point. His lips peel back over his pointed teeth, a vicious snarl. Many powerful mortals have come here before you, many who have made and broken promises, some with far greater power than your own. No matter how many times I try, they always fail me. Snakes and champions, spies and fools. There are cracks in the facade, cracks that grow bigger and threaten to swallow Novus whole. Novus wants to offer true deliverance, to make us into a kingdom of ascendants, free from worldly needs and desires. To make mortals into gods, to ensure an eternal kingdom. In doing so, they will consign those same mortals we guide and protect to destruction. As he utters those words, the ground beneath us trembles, groaning in warning. I stumble, trying to steady myself, and as I look up to stage his reaction, I see him begin to crumble before my very eyes. His body starts to decay, cracks littering his torso and limbs, the way the ground splits in the aftermath of an earthquake. Instead, dirt and stone lies fire, burning hot like the belly of hell itself. Not creepy at all. His very flesh peels away to reveal the face of death itself, the true face of Nomad. When he next speaks, his voice is no longer smooth-toned, now a demonic echo that makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand to attention, like a chorus of wailing, dying souls trapped within his throat. Here lies the future of Novus if their desires come to pass. I have seen it before, and though death would be plenty, I do not wish to see it again. Not like this. I can once again feel that oppressing me aspect threatening to choke me. The sky that same sickly green as it had been when I arrived at the crossroads. The Novus I know, or the one that Ungrat had tried to replicate, the one he wants to be real, is long gone. Like he said, here lies the future, a broken kingdom. The horror of the fall of the last kingdom haunts me and my brethren to this day. The chains grow tighter around the throat of Novus, and those who sit on the throne are the ones who will pull until it chokes. As he continues to speak, I fall to my knees, gasping for a steady breath. His anger is palpable, almost taking physical form. The weight of it drags me down. Novus does not understand what damage they bring to us and to the land when they interfere with the follies of man. They are blind and besotted with the promise of new beginnings that they may crop with their own godly hand. They think they can lift Novus higher as they reach out, but success cannot come by the hands of the gods. It must be won by mortals. I exhale sharply as he drops his fist, his face falling back into the unreadable stoicism as he rests his hand over his heart, and I can finally breathe again. So, bad, then? He chuckles darkly, cutting as if he pities me in my ignorance. How do you plan to stop them doing this? Are they not all seen? Are you not beholden to them? You must introduce change before things reach a point of no return. The decline doesn't mean excess opulence and sudden presence. It means ruthless and disproportionate retribution on those who dare challenge the crown. Little things easily unnoticed with dire consequences. He tilts his head, still grinning wryly as if he's about to expose a naughty secret. It means accepting circumstances as facts while handing out a sentence, rather than doing what is necessary to find the truth. I stare at him blankly, and then my heart sinks. Eric. He doesn't respond, but he doesn't need to. You are a mortal born not of Novus, but who resides within its walls with connections and access to powerful figureheads. You almost exist outside of Novus' reach, to something they can barely touch. We need you to help us reclaim our land, to be our champion in the darkness, our wild heart. I force myself back onto my feet, however unsteady my legs might be beneath me, and I can't help but laugh. The sound falls from my lips unbidden, a shaky, uncertain part that would make me feel a fool if I wasn't so out of sorts. You know, from the little god of death standing before me, asking me to be his date or whatever. You want me to be your champion. Ingress steps forward, and as he does so, I feel that suffocating me lift. I daren't flinch away. I daren't move at all. He changes before me once more, the glowing fissures that cut his torso healing, closing up until he's just that smooth, shining stone gray. His face is handsome again, too, or what I conceive it is, anyway. All dark and deadly. Maybe that's why people were just thirsting over him like crazy. I didn't see it, but then my taste don't run that direction anyway. Ungrat chuckles as if he can hear my disturbing thoughts, and I feel my cheeks flush. Maybe I won't flirt with death, and not today anyway. Yes, I do. To work for God, to betray no less themselves. Feel myself break into a wide, wolfish grin. What do you need me to do? Betray the patron god of the kingdom I call my temporary home? Ungrat smiles proudly and reaches out, his hand as cold as I suspected it would be as he presses it to my cheek. His presence is overbearing, and his size impressive. I feel like he could crush me with a simple flick of his finger, and yet I trust that he won't. Remind those who hold the throne that they will feel the full force of mine and my brethren's wrath if they continue to toy with things they do not understand. Novus thinks that their love for their lands will sustain them, but they forget the bloodshed and the pain we once suffered. We will make them remember, and I will put my faith in the hands of the mortals who love me. Mortal words carry weight, and they go far. You may very well succeed in convincing your fellow mortals where we have previously failed. Mortals also understand the value of the most intimate and sometimes seemingly insignificant aspects of their lives, long or short. To be able to look at anything and love it so fiercely that it propels them forward is not something we can fathom. I feel myself nodding unconsciously again, entranced by the way he speaks to me, as he knows me. Knows he does, intimately, maybe even better than I know myself. I feel myself nodding unconsciously again, entranced by the way he speaks to me. Oh, sorry, I already read that. Before I can open my mouth to respond, I feel the world shift. A change so unfathomable that it overwhelms and sends me to my knees. I look up and find Ungrat struggling too, his whole form trembling under the weight of whatever force bears so cruelly down upon us. Novus, they found us. We need to go. Now. My hands slide in my throat as I try to breathe through the air as it closes in on me, my skin hot, too hot. I close my eyes tight and I can feel it all. Pain and suffering, death and fear, the terrible fall. I can feel their blood tacked upon my skin, running through my fingertips. I can hear the clash of swords and the screams of the knights that wield them. I can remember the hollow ache as mortal souls cried out for salvation, the pain that burned like 1,000 fires, the resolve as heavy as 1,000 stars. Ungrat reaches for me, his cold hand curling around my forearm and hauling me upright with unparalleled strength, snapping me from the visions of decay that flood my mind. He holds me steady and draws nearer, and I find myself staring into the cold black eyes of the skull that sits atop his head. Listen to me, bear my aegis and travel back to your world, to our world. With my mark, Novus will not be able to find you. It will protect you. Do you understand? I just want it to stop. I want it to be over. I'll die if this carries on, and my mortal body isn't fit to withstand this level of whatever form of torture Novus inflicts upon me. Yes, please, do it. Close your eyes, Shadow. Close them and think of those you feel safest with. You must be safe in order to get home. I hear a noise, a terrible wail, a violent roar that shakes the very foundations of the world, As Noah's anger bears down upon us, then a whisper in my ear. This will sting. I don't question it. I close my eyes as tight as I can, and a searing, unfathomable pain bursts inside my chest. Ungrasp's grip on me tightens, and I can feel his anguish over inflicting this hurt sinking bone deep. Then I feel nothing. Darkness consumes me, everything finally silent and still. Someone I feel safe with. And this is where we choose a path. Time to choose a romance. Come on, save, thank you. So, with, no, I just forgot their names. Rahim and Ehab, I picked the person that they were with when they got whisked away. I deliberately made choices so that Nasri would be alone, so that I could pick whomever from their main choices, which would be Livia, Lucian, Masha, Raiden. If you'll remember, I keep thinking names. Rahim picked Rue, and Ehab picked Eric. Well, Ehab is going to do the poly route with Eric and Masha, so that rules Masha out. So that leaves Olivia, Lucian, and Raiden. And everybody seems, from what I've been able to see, everyone seems to prefer going on Lucian and Raiden. So we're going to pick Livia. So I always intended to pick Livia just because the Nomad with Livia. I mean, that's going to be so much fun. Okay. And I think I turned the music down. Okay. Come on. So, Olivia. Here we go. Safe. Who would I be safer with than the woman who holds the weight of the kingdom upon her steel-clad shoulders? Not only that, but the mere thought of Olivia soothes me, and presents a balm to all of the trivialities of this nomadic life I've chosen. She's my opposite, contradictory in every which way, honorable and good, and yet I feel drawn to her like no other. And so I close my eyes tight, and picture her face the way it looks when inspired, cheeks flushed and her smile wide, her eyes sparkling with unbidden glee at the chance to let go, to be herself and free of the burden of her duty, if only for a moment. That's when I land with a sickening thud and a veil of clematis blooms, petals raining down on me as I come to. I'm in the palace gardens because, of course, my subconscious will choose to dump me in the place where I'm wanted by the royal guard. You thought of Libya. Okay? Fuck! Who's there? Fuck! I shrink down into a bush and let the leaves engulf me, kind of hoping they might just swallow me whole, put an end to this horrendous day. But then I hear footsteps getting closer. Olivia's face appears as she parts the leaves and flowers with her hands. She doesn't look happy. Duh. You. I sigh and nod for her as earnest a smile as I can muster, considering the circumstances. Talk about deja vu with added greenery. Would you believe me if I told you that a god sent me here? I've had a very weird day. Her brow furrows, and the hand that now rests atop the pommel of her sword tenses, her knuckles bleeding white. I quickly registered that she's wearing the same casual attire that she did back in the market, and my heart quite literally skips a beat, thudding loudly against my ribs. Oh, you look lovely. Livia exhales through her nostrils and rolls her eyes before she offers me a hand, which I eagerly take. She yanks me upright, more flowers flying, and shit, she is strong. Talk and be quick about it. How did you end up here again, Nasrin? Did you not learn your lesson last time? I brush dirt from my backside and pluck a few stray leaves from my shirt and hair. Livia watching me intently. Your knife didn't catch me last time, so I just say there was no lesson to be learned. She huffs a laugh, her smile grim. Clever. You were faster than I anticipated, I'll grant you that. I feel myself wobble, my head spinning, and it's then that I recall that terrible, oppressive force, Novus force, bearing down on me. I feel a warm hand grab me by the forearm before I've even really noticed that I'm about to tip over, and I meet Livia's concerned gaze when I look up, the world setting itself to rights again. Are you okay? You look like I've seen a ghost. I assure you it was much, much worse. I don't think you'd believe me if I told you. She looks at me like she believes me for once, like she isn't going to call for the guards and have me thrown into the dungeons. Maybe we've made some progress. Gods, I hope we have. Livia squeezes my arm. Try me. I swallow the lump that seems to have formed in my throat, my words getting stuck as I try to fathom what happened and if it was real. I shake my head, forcing myself to smile, but I can see that Livia doesn't buy it. I'd hate to bother you with my troubles. I'm sure you have plenty of your own. Pain. Hot and searing, a terrible burn flaring at the center of my chest, right above my heart. I clutch my shirt, fist in the fabric as I will it to stop, and as quick as it started, it does stop. When I pry my eyes open, I see that Livia is staring at me in naked disbelief, and I look down and see the faintest golden glow disappearing from the offending spot. That's lovely. Aegis. Nasreen. I don't know what to say or how to rationalize it. She's seen it. There's no talking my way out of this one. His name falls from my lips, unbidden. Ungraph. She nods slowly, a series of unreadable emotions washing over her face before her mouth sets into a thin line. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Then she steps closer, still clutching my arm, and she's so close I can't quite form a coherent thought. Her voice is low, a mere whisper when she next speaks. There are many tales, the rumors, I suppose. I've always wanted to believe that they were real, and now God's doing this to mortals isn't exactly unheard of. Our clerics had to be selected somehow, after all. I just never thought they would pull someone like you into things. Ouch! I flinch at that. Someone like me. Someone who doesn't matter. Livia flushes and shakes her head quickly. No, Her stare is determined. You matter, Nasreen. At least you matter to me. If that means anything. Whoa! She quickly composes herself as I let my brain process those words. I matter. To Livia Vasile. I swear the sweat. Okay, it says sweat, but I think that's supposed to be swear. I swear that I will not tell anyone. This isn't a burden that you must bear alone. I exhale sharply, my breath leaving my lungs in a whoosh. She believes me so fervently, so easily. Me, a shadow, someone who hardly deserves her attention, let alone her respect. Does this mean Livia and others within the palace are aware of Novus' interference? My heart races again, my face hot. I can hear her talking, her lips moving, but I can't seem to listen. Now, there is a difference between hearing and listening. Hearing is in one ear, out the other. Listening, you actually register what they're saying. I matter. Yeah, I kind of would be stuck on that. Nasreen? I shake my head quickly, trying to clear it. Forgive me, but I didn't catch what you said. Livia huffs, her cheeks blossoming pink. She opens her mouth to scold me, I assume, but when I glide my fingers along her forearm and take her hand, she quickly clamps her mouth shut. Of course we're going to kiss her. Not entirely appropriate considering the circumstances, but I suppose she's thinking about kissing you if I'm completely honest. Mouth, words, shit. Now I've properly blown it. If she'll allow it, I mean. She stares at me, wind rustling the wisps of pale hair that fall free from the neat queue of her ponytail, the scent of night blooms rich in the air. like a scene from a fucking fairy tale. Yes. I try to prevent my eyes from popping out of my skull, and Lydia blinks rapidly, nodding once, twice, affirming her permission. You may. I draw nearer and keep myself in check, painfully aware of who I'm about to kiss. I then take hold of both her hands and squeeze her tightly as our lips meet, and it's everything I dreamed of and more. Lydia makes a quiet noise against the press of my mouth and seems to relax into it, leaning her body against mine, her fingers tightly laced and trapped between our chests. When I pull away, she seems to chase me for a moment before catching herself. I have the pleasure of watching her lashes slowly flutter open, her blue eyes brighter than I think I've ever seen, as her gaze falls upon me. It takes little for me to lean in again, still entranced by her presence, by the bashful yet determined set of her still parted, kissed red lips. Wait. She quickly presses her finger to my lips and shakes her head. I freeze, my eyes wide. I'm deathly afraid that I've overstepped. Then she laughs. It's the prettiest noise I've ever heard. Yeah. Do not startle, Nasreen. I mean to say that we're not exactly in hiding here. I may be Knight Commander, but I am not above being reported to the monarchs for fooling around in view of the entire palace. She cocks a single brow as if to check that I understand what she's saying, so I nod meekly. With that, she smirks and drops her finger, allowing me to speak. Fooling around? That's what you focus on. Fooling around? Her mouth opens and closes quickly. You know what I mean. Do not push your luck. You're so beautiful when you're angry with me, my lady. Like I said, Nasreen, do not push your luck with me. Her words are sharp, but her grin is wicked, and I am thrilled. Yeah, duh. She turns as if looking for witnesses, pressing her fingers to her temples for a moment, and then she's back to staring me down. Her gaze is softer this time, like something significant has shifted between us. Novus, preserve me. I cannot believe I'm going to hide a spy in my quarters. You are? Oh my gosh, this is why I picked Lydia for the Nomad, because it's just the contrast between the Nomad and the Knight Commander. She laughs again, a giddy, breathless noise. I cannot leave you in this state, not when... She gestures to my chest. This is no laughing matter, Nasreen. This could mean a number of terrible things for the kingdom. Do you understand? I nod, not really understanding at all. Now come, follow me, and stay close. She reaches out her hand, her smile warm, and I've never felt safer than when I take it, my fingers curling around hers. And that's when I realized who knew Death himself would be such an excellent matchmaker. And that's it. So next week we start playing Chapter 5, and then I don't know when the rest of the game is supposed to come out. They are working on it. The last update indicated that all the artwork has been finished. For the rest of the game, they're polishing up and they finished writing, and they polished it up and refined it a bit. The big thing is their coding to have it work on a different system than what they've been using, because this system that they're currently using is not as user-friendly as they thought it would be. So that's going to be the big issue, I think, is just coding, basically. So I have no idea when the rest of the game will be available, hopefully soon. If it's not available by the time I finish doing Chapter 5, then I'll think of something else. And then once it is ready, I will, of course, play through the rest of the game. Still going chapter by chapter, route by route. But for now, we are done. Yeah, so I will be back on Sunday, provided nothing comes up like what happened yesterday. Continuing with When the Night Comes revamp with Chapter 6. We'll find out what the fuck happened with Aurora. And then next Wednesday, we will be back to Raheem and see what happens the morning after. So until then, take care, everyone, and don't forget to love each other. I was going to hit the wrong button. That button.